Hi everybody. Happy New Year. Welcome back to my channel. You want to see the face I make when I get to my computer with a video and I start playing it and I realize that I didn't plug in the external microphone? Anyway, I thought it might be interesting for people to hear about how I went from shooting Canon EOS DSLRs to Lumix Micro Four Thirds equipment. And I think it's not uncommon for us, for we photographers, as we get older, to want to lighten the load a little bit. And I kind of had the Micro Four Thirds system on my radar for quite some time, and when it came out, I was like, "Well, that actually looks pretty interesting," because one of the things is that it looked like these cameras are actually the size of the 35 millimeter film cameras that that I had used. At least, the old Canon FD system. The cameras gradually got larger, even film cameras, but I was always interested in it. And coming up on 10 years ago now, it was in May of 2012, Beth and I took a small ship wilderness cruise in Southeast Alaska, which was an amazing trip. I highly recommend that to anyone because it's like the trip of a lifetime. And I had a Canon EOS 5D Mark III at the time, so I took that, the 24 to 105 L lens, and the 70 to 300 L lens, which turns out for a trip like that isn't quite long enough. You do need something longer much of the time. But every evening in the ship's lounge, we'd all get together and do what you do in a lounge, but we'd also, there would be a slideshow. And so we would provide one of the cruise staff with our images from the day, and they would put together a slideshow of everybody's images. And there was a young couple on this trip, and the guy had a Lumix G, whatever the G camera was. I think it might have been a G3 in 2012. A little SLR styled camera, and a couple lenses, and his images were great. It's like, wow, those are very nice images. But I wasn't really quite ready to make the change. So fast forward a few years, I was offered a job by a former employer. I mean, essentially the same job I'd done for them before. And full-time income is nothing to sneeze at. So I went ahead and took it. And as a little celebration present, and also because I wanted a small camera to be able to throw in my business backpack and take with me, I bought the Lumix GX85 and the kit 12 to 32 millimeter lens at a bricks and mortar store here in Chicago. And I quickly added the 45 to 150 millimeter zoom lens and the 20 millimeter f1.7 compact. So as a travel kit, it was great because you had that whole range of from 24 millimeter equivalent to 300 millimeter equivalent with a fast prime lens. And it all fit into a little ThinkTake mirrorless mover bag, which fit really nicely into my backpack. I had looked at the Olympus system, and it was interesting. I'll tell you, I wasn't really attracted by the retro stuff because I shot retro cameras when they weren't retro. And I always, when I was shooting those cameras, thought, well, it would be cool if it would do this, 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 and this. So I kind of felt that the Panasonic system was more similar to what I was used to with the Canon system, and that seems to have turned out to be the case. But when I got that camera, I went out and started shooting with it, and it really was fine. I could not see any issues as far as the images that came out of that camera. I photographed my hometown, Oak Park, Illinois. I went to downtown Chicago, did street photography. I'd throw the camera and lenses into my bag when I traveled and shot interesting things, including here Sioux Falls in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, the St. Louis Arch, the Wisconsin Capitol in Madison, Wisconsin, and downtown Madison. All of these were shot with the GX85 and one of those three lenses, either the 12 to 32, the 20 millimeter prime, or the 45 to 150. There's a train coming into Clarksville, Indiana. I don't know if that's the last train to Clarksville. But it was great having such a compact system that I could take with me just about anywhere and be ready for any photographic opportunity. Even landscape photography, it was great. And then I had promised a friend to photograph his wedding prior to taking this full-time job again. So I had committed to that, so I did it. And I had my Canon 80D and lenses and flash, but I also used that little GX85 and the 20 millimeter pancake to grab candids and shoot during the ceremony with no flash. And the shutter is really quiet and doesn't disturb anybody. And the couple, they were thrilled with these images. In fact, I prefer them over using the DSLR and using flash. So it wasn't even the last wedding that I shot. Just a few months before COVID, a friend of mine asked me to photograph her wedding, and it was a beautiful outdoor wedding on a great day in October. So I'm very happy with the Lumix system. So there you have my story of how I went from Canon DSLRs to Lumix Micro Four Thirds equipment. I'd like to hear your story, so please leave a comment below. Any questions, leave them as well. I'll respond to them. If you enjoyed this, found it informative, please hit the thumbs up button. That's a big help to me. And hope the rest of your year is fantastic. I'm Todd Banner, and I will see you next time.